This last news story is from GameSpot, written by Darren Bonthus. Final Fantasy 16 has gone gold ahead of its June release. Nearly 3 months ahead of its scheduled release date, Square Enix has announced that Final Fantasy 16 has gone gold, meaning the game is ready to be pressed onto disc, though development will still continue. On Twitter, the studio marked the milestone with a photo of staff and a Torgal plushie celebrating. Mastered up today, the tweet reads, both the staff and Torgal are delighted. Do you know what a Torgal is? Is that from another Final Fantasy game?
Say again, I'm sorry?
Torgal? They say it's a Torgal plushie. It's like a little dog thing. Is that like a character from Final Fantasy?
Wait a minute. Let me...
You got to look at this tweet.
Not a Moogle?
No, it's a Torgal. It just looks like a little stuffed like husky dog, basically.
Isn't that the character from the game?
I don't know, maybe. I'm going to be completely honest. I've only watched one trailer for Final Fantasy 16, and it was the one when they first announced that the game was even exist. So that's the only trailer I've watched of this game.
Yeah, I don't think
it's like a wolf thing. It's like some wolf.
I think that's new. That's a new character.
Okay, so it's from the new game.
It's from 16. Yeah, it's probably the new mascot for 16.
Final Fantasy 16 is the first mainline game in the series since 2016's Final Fantasy 15. There have been a few other Final Fantasy games released in the years since then, such as Final Fantasy VII Remake, but the release of a core numbered entry in the series has become a rare occurrence. Back in April last year, producer Naoki Yoshida said that the development team had entered the finale of Final Fantasy 16's development, and by November, main director Hiroshi Takai, is that right? Said that development was 95% complete. I love that precision there. 95% complete. Exactly. No more, no less. It will be a PS5 exclusive for at least 6 months. Will forego the series' traditional turn-based combat for more character action-like battles, similar to Final Fantasy 15. A high fantasy epic that mixes a more action-packed approach with unique icon battles. The game takes place in the war-torn world of Valistia and centers around the dominance of gifted individuals who can wield the power of icons. Officially launched on PlayStation 5 on June 22nd. So you're a big Final Fantasy fan. I'm a newbie just with Final Fantasy VII Remake, but are you excited about this game? Have you pre-ordered this game? What are your thoughts on this going gold?
I am not excited about this game in the slightest, Garrett. It looks awful. I don't know why you think I would be interested in Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy in general. Please do not insult me like that again.
I'm sorry. Why? I should have known better.
How dare you?
I shouldn't assume. How dare I assume that because you like
Square Enix games that involve Final Fantasy as well? Huh? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Final Fantasy and characters incorporated into other Square Enix projects. You think I would like something like that?
You know what, Adrian? I apologize. I'm sorry for being just so ignorant and thinking that you would just love every Final Fantasy game that comes out. So
I'm absolutely stoked. I cannot wait for this freaking game. I don't know what else to say. It looks gorgeous. Everything I've seen is hyping it up. I've played very little Final Fantasy 14, but I can tell you that what I have played, even though most people say, "Oh, it's the intro," it's not. It's the least of all the content. I've been having a good time with it. If it's that team behind it, I am more than confident, at least for the story. So I don't know what else to tell you. There is not a thing that I'm not excited for, except for the comments that were made about the historical accuracy of the giant battling gods game.
Absolutely absurd.
So
yes,
they honestly should have just never answered that question. But here we are.
Like I said, I haven't watched any other trailers other than the very first one when they first announced that it even existed, and it looked dope. I'm not gonna lie, it looks freaking awesome.
I think you would like it. If you like 7, I think you would like this one. 7 Remake, I should say.
Okay, and that's what I was gonna ask. Like, is this one worth trying? Because I picked up 15 because it was like dirt cheap on sale one time. And because you had mentioned like, oh yeah, you probably like 15 too, because it's kind of a similar combat kind of style in that.
Mhm.
And I just haven't had a chance to touch it. But now that this one's coming out, I was like, well, maybe I just totally forget about 15 and just move on to 16.
I don't know about forget about 15. I think 15 is still it's not necessarily like the peak of Final Fantasy games, but it's definitely worth being played. The main characters, I think, are the best part of it.
Right.
So.
Okay. But I'm also, this winter, we're supposed to be getting the next part of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Well, if you start in June, if you start 16 in June, by the time you're done, you'll be ready for Rebirth.
Man, I'm really excited for that game.
I'm excited for both of them.
I totally forgot that the next part 7 Remake was even coming out this year. And I was reading some article the other day and it mentioned it. I'm like, oh, it's coming back.
We're
finally.
I'm
so excited. I haven't even had a chance.
Fans are eating so good right now. You got 14 still ongoing, going strong. It's bigger than ever. You got high off the heels of 7 Remake. We're getting ready to get the second part of that. And then you got 16 getting ready to drop as well.
Well, we got the Crisis Core remake too, which I haven't even been able to touch yet. Like I was just like, oh, I was so excited for that game, and then like there's been so many other games at the beginning of this year. I haven't touched it.
Fans are eating so good right now. You have no excuse to be upset with anything right now. There's something for everybody.
I feel like for the next like 3 book clubs, we just need to make it like Crisis Core remake. We can do.
They'd have to switch to quarterly book clubs.
We can do Final Fantasy 15 book club. When 16 comes out, we can do Final Fantasy 16 book club. At the end of the year, we can do Final Fantasy remake. Let's turn it into the Square Enix book club. Like we just talk about Square games, you know. Oh man! Always need to start a separate podcast. Start a podcast just about Final Fantasy games. That's all we do.
You joke?
Just you introducing me to Final Fantasy games.
You joke, but there are multiple people who would be down. Like if we told people, "Yo, pick your favorite Final Fantasy and play it," and then when we're ready,
Eddie would lose his mind.
Oh my god,
he'd have a freaking seizure if we told him about that. He'd be like, "Are you kidding me? What?"
I'm stoked for 16. I can't wait for it. I know there's no way it's gonna be straight up bad, right? At the very least, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Just based on the quality of what we've seen so far alone.
Man. Selkie says, I would tune in, guest, listen, and enjoy every second of that. So maybe there's something to it. Maybe
I'm just saying.
Start up a new show. That's it. Shut it all down. We're starting a new podcast.
Final Fantasy Boys.
the super fantasy boys. No, wait.
I think that might be a JJ thing. We might need to look into that actually.
Well, that's all I got for the news this week, unless you have anything else to add about Final Fantasy here. I'm gonna say there is a rumor floating around that Final Fantasy X, we might be getting Final Fantasy X-3. Because Final Fantasy X is one of the rare Final Fantasy titles that have a 2-part. So it's 10 has 10-2 and 13 has 13-2 and 13-3, but they call it Lightning Returns. So there was like some hearsay, I don't know if it was just people talking, that somebody over at Square Enix on the Final Fantasy team was kind of noodling around with the idea of a Final Fantasy X-3. And if we see anything about that at E3 this year, not E3.
We're
not going to see anything at E3 this year, Adrian.
If we see anything at Summer Game Fest this year, or whatever the Square Enix event is going to be, even if it's just a splash page that says Final Fantasy X-3, I cannot be held responsible for whatever noises or maneuvers that my body happens to perform.
I mean, it looks like in the chat, Selkies is losing his mind. Like you've already like piqued his interest. He might be doing some crazy dances over there as well. I mean, you don't have to answer this because I don't want you to spoil it, but because I've never played 10. Other than whatever was on that, was it a Pizza Hut demo or something? There's some like demo I had that had like just the beginning, and I played that over and over and over again. Did 2 like leave? Like, did it end in such a way that left a cliffhanger, or would it be like kind of like scraping the bottom of the barrel? Be like, oh, let's see how we can extend the story a little bit.
I don't know how I can go about telling.
If it's gonna be too spoilery, don't answer it. But it just, in my head, it seems weird that like 10 plus years after the game came out, all of a sudden like, you know what, we can add a little bit more to that. It's like, can you? I mean, like, why didn't you think of it back then?
10 and 10-2 are definitely like, if they left it there, which they did, it'd be like, all right, that's all wrapped up. But I think there are avenues that they can go down to make up a premise for the third one. Or maybe it could take place, way later in the timeline and everybody's older and it's their kids or, something like that. Or
okay. So just in the same world, but not necessarily the same like character story.
Well, it has to be the same characters. When you do a number sequel, it's with that same cast.
Okay. Huh.
So that's usually how that works anyway. But yeah, I don't know. 10 is like universally like loved. It's my favorite Final Fantasy. I also really like 10-2. A lot of people don't like 10-2. I like both of them. Zetch, I always tell him it's a package deal. You have to play 10 and 10-2. I don't care what he tells you. You have to play 10 and 10-2. That's why they put them together. Okay? All right.
Deal. I'm in.
Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.